When you talk about the best theme parks in the country, a few big names come to mind. You think of world-class parks run by the rivals of Universal and Disney. You think of classic Cedar Fair parks like Cedar Point and Knott's Berry Farm. And you may even think of fan favorites like Dollywood or Six Flags Great Adventure.
But in all the discussions of what is the best park in the United States, there's one park we feel that doesn't get the respect it deserves.
No respect. I don't get no respect at all.
And why is that? This park, it has the rides. It has an amazing atmosphere.
Yes, it does.
It has some of the most delicious treats and food I have ever been delighted to taste.
Food, water, atmosphere.
Why aren't more people dropping it into the conversation?
It's ridiculous.
Well, we feel it has something to do with one of the park's greatest strengths as well. Its location.
And the park we're talking about, of course, is Silver Dollar City, located in Branson, Missouri.
Ooh,
the one and only.
The one and only Silver Dollar City. And while most parks are located around a larger city or populated area, Silver Dollar City it's kind of out in the woods a little bit.
It's kind of out there, so it's a bit of a drive.
Yeah, located in the beautiful Ozark Mountains of southern Missouri.
And while this adds breathtaking views and beautiful atmosphere to the park, with every ride being surrounded by beautiful mountains and forests, this also means that this park is not the easiest to get to.
In other words, it's not like you're just going to be in the neighborhood passing by and being like, well, I mean, let's go stop by.
Yeah.
When you go to Silver Dollar City, it's likely that you either live nearby or you're making the pilgrimage to the park itself. Something that we have done recently, and
we were blown away.
Blown away.
It was
spectacular. And it wasn't only the park itself, but the rides, the food, the atmosphere, everything was fantastic. It's in contention for one of the best parks we have ever been to.
Oh yeah.
And it seems that some are catching on to that as well. In fact, USA Today recently named Silver Dollar City as its #1 theme park in 2024. But that being the case, because it's kind of out there and hard to get to, not as many people know of the true majesty of Silver Dollar City, which is why we're going to talk about it today as the best park that you might be missing out on. So first of all, let's take a quick look into the history of the park. It all started with a hole in the ground.
Before the theme park that we know and love today, geologists in the mid to late 1800s discovered a cave that was caused by a sinkhole that would become Branson, Missouri.
The hole was first called Marble Cave. In the 1880s, explorers lowered themselves more than 200 feet into the cave by ropes to explore the main chamber.
From here, a group of Union Civil War veterans formed a mining company to mine resources from a cave, and a Canadian mining expert named William Henry Lynch purchased the cave and opened it for public tours in 1894. The Lynch family continued to operate the cave tours until 1950, when the management was taken over by Hugo and Mary Persson and their teenage sons Jack and Pete,
who purchased a 99-year lease on the cave. So, purchased in 1950, right? They're still on that original lease, which is pretty fun.
From there, the Persson family began thinking of ways to improve the area around the cave on the surface, which eventually led to the idea of recreating the 1880s mining town, Ozark Village.
And then in 1960, the Perssons opened the village that they called Silver Dollar City. So that name, it comes from a promotional idea that they had of giving visitors silver dollars as change. So, some fun facts about the cave, which we like. On July 7th, 1963, an underground altitude record, which who knew that was even a thing in the first place, was set by Don Picard by flying a hot air balloon around the massive room, the main chamber of the cave. And then later, in 1994, 5 hot air balloons were flown simultaneously in the cathedral room of the cave in celebration of the 100th anniversary of giving cave tours. Then from there, the rest is history, right? The park continued to grow, gaining new rides and attractions until it became the park that it is today. And it all started with a cave tour that is still operating.
Still operating.
You can still go into the cave. You can take your own hot air balloon. And you can fly in that cave.
Well, maybe not the hot air balloon, but you can go down.
Maybe a kite.
I'm sure if you showed up with a hot air balloon, they would consider.
So, Now that we know a little bit about the history of the park, let's talk about some of the rides and attractions that they offer today.
As of now, the park is sectioned into 9 different lands that all have their distinct offerings.
Yeah, we got Main Street, we've got the Homestead Ridge and Midtown. We've got Hugo's Hill Street.
We got Wilson's Farm.
We got Rivertown.
We got the Fire District. We got the Grand Exposition.
We got Valley Road.
That's it.
So, looking at each of these different areas, let's start with Main Street.
You enter the front of the park, beautiful plaza, and this is also where you can enter into the cave tour.
Don't pass by the cave tour, it's kind of tucked away to the side. It's kind of a little hidden. I wouldn't have known it was there if I didn't know.
The tour is about an hour long, and I was just shocked how far they actually brought you down. I thought you just like kind of pop in, look at the cathedral, then leave, but no, they take you down into the caves. In fact, in order to even enter the building where you get like your little orientation for the cave tour, the door is really small, and they have like a little hole that you have to squeeze into to get to your orientation. Be like, if you can't get in here, just get out of here.
Just get out right now.
Just get out right now.
This tour is not for you.
And before you go down, they warn you about 100 times, like if you've got asthma, if you've got
claustrophobia.
What does claustrophobic mean?
It means he's afraid of Santa Claus.
if you've got weak knees, weak ankles, get out of here. And I'll tell you, it worked. Like half of the party that we were about to go down, half of them left before we actually went down. You start by descending down 600 steps into the cave's cathedral, and I'll tell you, this place is just huge. No picture or footage really like does it justice just how massive this thing is.
Then you go deep into the cave, squeezing through some pretty tight shafts and even coming across a waterfall underground.
Which the rainbow lighting, completely natural, by the way.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And if that wasn't the cherry on top, at the end of the tour, you get to go into an authentic cable train that was constructed in 1957. And they pull you back up to the surface?
And they pull you back up to the
surface. And it was like janky in the best way. It was like rattling.
Next up, there's Homestead Ridge in Midtown, which displays most of the authentic, homemade atmosphere of the park. You come in and there are a bunch of vendors set up selling different like homemade crafts and items that you can explore. And here you can also board the train, which gives great scenic views of the woods and some of the rides along the train. And they even have a good old train robbery that goes wrong.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
And here you can also find one of the coolest and most unique shooting dark rides, the Flooded Mine, where you have to round up prisoners that are trying to escape through the mines. I've never seen it. It was unique. I've never seen anything like that. You just get into this boat, they hand you a gun and be like, alright, go track down the prisoners. I'm like, okay. But it's fun because the boat has like no lap bar, no seatbelt. You're just like on a boat.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool.
From there, you go on to Hugo's Hill Street, which is home to a large chunk of Silver Dollar City's attraction. There's Wildfire, a really solid B&M floorless coaster. And can I just say, the views around it? Beautiful. The views around, that was one of my favorite views surrounding a ride there, because maybe it was because it was sunset when I showed up there, when the sun hit those hills just right.
They sing.
They sang, alright. Then you also got your log flume.
Boom, banger attraction.
And then there's Powder Keg, a super unique launched roller coaster that used to be a water ride. I'm telling you, it's very unique, and we're going to get into some of the details on the specifics of the rides a little bit later because we want to do a ranking video of all the rides, but
it's coming.
We'll tell you, for now, it was unique. It felt like you were like slip and sliding along.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Then you got a small section in the back of the park. You got Wilson's Farm, which is home to a few like small farm-themed flat rides, as well as one of Silver Dollar City's marquee attractions, Outlaw Run, which is a very intense, short but intense RMC that just takes you out into the woods of the Ozark.
Very short, very intense. It was rad. Like I'm usually the kind of guy that like ride an RMC over and over and over again. This one I rode twice, and I was like, oh man, maybe I'm getting old.
Maybe it's a good thing that it's a little short.
But no, fantastic.
Up next, you got Rivertown, not to be mistaken with Kings Island's Rivertown. Don't be ridiculous. Completely different.
We'll rank every Rivertown in our next video.
Yeah. And as you expect, there's some more water rides in this area, but don't worry, if getting wet is not your style, this land still has a lot to offer, and that is the world's famous cinnamon bread, which if you have watched our theme park food ranking, You know our thoughts about cinnamon bread.
And come on, all you gotta do is look at it and you know.
It's gorgeous.
Bring a tear to the eye.
Yes.
From there, you keep going around the park to the Fire District and the Grand Exposition.
These are more the family and kid-focused lands of the park. With the Fire District, you got Fire in the Hole.
A new dark ride.
New dark ride.
It was charming. That's how I would describe it. It was a
charming.
fantastic and charming ride.
Yeah.
Where you're hunting down some bald knobbers who set
bald
fire to a town.
You gotta get those bald
Gotta get those
knobbers,
bald
those
knobbers.
hooligans. And the Fire District, home to one of the best theme park playgrounds I've ever seen. Ball cannon? Are you kidding me?
And then there's the Grand Exposition. Here there are some more flat rides focused for kids, like kids-focused flat rides for kids. Kids ride these flat rides.
What?
And here they have traditional fairgrounds as well, with a steampunk twist.
And speaking of steampunk, that brings us to the final section of the park, Valley Road, which is home to one of our new favorite roller coasters.
It was so good.
Time Traveler.
One of the most unique sensations I've ever had on an initial drop of a roller coaster. And then on the launch too, it was unique.
It was crazy. It's
And fantastic.
fantastic.
And so that is the rides and attractions they have at the park, but it would be a shame if we did not mention the festivals and the food that they have at Silver Dollar City, because that's another thing that just takes it up to the next level. Yes, we know every park has festivals for different seasons, right? You got your fall festival, you got your winter festival, but I recently had the chance to go to the Christmas festival at Silver Dollar City. An old time Christmas is what it's called. And it was the best I had ever been to before. And let's start with the lights. I had never seen so many Christmas lights in my life. The park was decked out with 6.5 million lights. And I think every surface, if you could put a light on it, they did.
It's crazy.
A light on everything. Just look at these pictures, they're insane. But as amazing as the lights and the food and everything were, what set this one apart was the celebration of Christmas itself. From the moment you enter, you'll see nativity shows, angels singing, lights showing glory to God, and so much more. It was honestly a bit shocking and very refreshing to see in today's world. And it's something that makes it stand out as a park. It was a very special experience. I loved it.
I wasn't able to go to the Christmas festival, but I did go to the Fall Harvest Festival. And it was the most charming thing I've ever seen. Because you know, most fall-centered festivals at theme parks, you know, you got the spooky stuff, you got the Halloween haunts, you got the Halloween Horror Nights, you got the Fear Fest, but like this was all centered around like pumpkins, harvest. It felt like I was in an episode of Over the Garden Wall, but like in the best way. It was just so charming, and I've never seen so many. You've never seen so many lights. I've never seen so many pumpkins.
And so there we have it, right? From the immaculate theming and vibes to the amazing attractions to the food to the festivals. All of this is what brings Silver Dollar City to the top of the theme park landscape. It's one of the best parks we've ever been to. Don't make us choose our favorite park, because we're not going to.
No.
Kind of like one of those shows where anyone who's watched it loves it. Anyone who goes to Silver Dollar City loves it. The biggest challenge is just getting people to go there, which is what we challenge all of you to do at home. We are
Go to Silver Dollar City. There's something for everyone.
taking the vibes.
Taking the vibes.
And let us know down in the comments below. Have you been to Silver Dollar City? Do you agree? What do you think of the park? Let us know about your experience down below in the comments. And while you're down there, you know, I mean, if you like cinnamon bread, feel free to like and subscribe as well.
Because, you know, we have more Silver Dollar City thoughts on the way, and you don't want to miss them.
So tune in next time. Subscribe. Goodbye.
See ya!